Okay, so considering considering things like 9/11 and other things that really are continuously happening, uh, that are orchestrated events. I'm not saying everything is, but if you're in the truth community and you go out and you look for solid information on uh, nefarious activity, I'll say, okay, then you're gonna know. But this is a JFK speech that I took two excerpts uh, and kept them in the order that they appeared in the speech, which is much longer. But I put them together, and I think it's really the heart of a message that JFK was trying to get across. JFK might have been, bloodline. If you understand where I'm going with this, he might have been from an aristocratic family or bloodline. That's possible, um, but I don't know that for sure. And it really doesn't matter because of, you know, obviously they got rid of him for a reason. And what I'm about to read to you, especially taking just these two parts and putting them together in succession instead of having a bunch of stuff in between, you might you might kind of understand why he got assassinated. Okay, so the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweigh the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship. Oh no, and concealment. Our way of life is under attack. If you are awaiting a finding of clear and present danger, then I can say that the danger has never been more clear and its presence more imminent. For we are opposed around the world. Okay, who's he talking about? We, you know, is he talking about the government of the United States or the United States as an imperial power, or is he talking about people that want to be free and not in all types of bondage that mostly is kind of, hidden a little bit behind the facade of a freedom system? I'll start over. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy. Monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Now, that's the kind of thing that if you'll go to my playlist and you'll watch some of the videos that are in documenting the real enemy and uh, several other categories, you'll get this kind of information. Something else that I want to give to you real quick is this right here is This top thing is a book, the Texas Criminal and Traffic Law Manual. I suspect that it's probably uh, similar law also in other books. Um, but don't worry about the substantive due process, constitutional law, whatnot. The bottom three down here: 18 U.S. Code 241, conspiracy against rights; 18 U.S.C. 242, deprivation of rights under color of law. If you don't know what the color of law is, you need to go to, if you don't know what the color of law is, you need to go to fraudulent legal system category in my playlist and watch those Justinian deception videos. And you'll understand what the color of law is. I mean, I'm not saying you don't. And then the bottom one, 42 USC 1983, civil action for deprivation of rights. So, in my opinion, the whole system is depriving us of our rights because they've removed us from common law jurisdiction and put us into admiralty law, the law of the sea, or a military style um, system where you are a subject to a federal corporation, which I also have that written down somewhere. Dadgummit, I meant to give you that. But there's a U.S. code similar to those last three I just read that actually admits where the federal government in D.C. is admitting that it is actually a corporation. It is not a common law government. There is a big difference. A corporation technically is a foreign power. So all of this talk, all you hear, all these politicians, all these influencers, and blah blah blah, media, Fox News, CNN. Oh, we got to save our democracy and our republic and our constitution, and we're about freedom and liberty and justice. Blah, blah. No, the whole system has been um, usurped because of the bankruptcy, and then everything was turned into uh, a corporation as far as all government levels, all the way down to your local small town. The city government and everything is a corporation. So go to those two categories and watch and learn the most valuable stuff. That if 30% of the public was aware of the information that's just in those two categories in my playlist, they wouldn't put up with another minute of these people that rule over us and have these positions of quote unquote authority and exert all of these laws on us that criminalize people and put them behind bars where they didn't create a victim. There's no victim that can show damages, but yet they committed a crime that some politician wrote down on a piece of paper, and therefore we're going to lock them up. And in somebody's case like mine, where I was traveling through a state on the way to another state, I get arrested. Basically all I was doing was speeding. Okay, I'm not going to get into the whole details of it, and because it's a whole big long story. It has to do with my PTSD and anxiety disorder and everything that I've now been diagnosed with. But doesn't matter. So I get arrested in Texas. I'm simply traveling through. I've got a $13,000 utility van, Chevy utility van that's big and roomy that I'm living in as I'm traveling around, giving myself the only vacation I've ever had my entire life. And I've got $2,500 worth of brand new musical equipment, nicest stuff I've had in years. And I'm wanting to get back into the music business after kind of going off the rails by my own fault for about 13 years, 12, 13 years up until 2016. So in 2021, I'm driving through Texas. I end up getting arrested. I was speeding on a completely empty interstate with no opportunity to leave a victim by hurting anybody because nobody was on the road. So I'm going 7 or 8 miles an hour over the speed limit. I get arrested. I get thrown in prison. And mind you, I just bought that van and that musical equipment and everything with inheritance money. I got about a little over $25,000 in inheritance money 5 months before I got arrested, ending my vacation of traveling around the West and seeing sights and everything on my way to New Orleans to try to get back into the music business, which I had a promising career ahead of me years ago. And I wanted to go and get back into get back on stage and start playing music again. But no, I got arrested. My vehicle got impounded that had everything I own, including that nice musical equipment, put behind a, uh, you know, uh, uh, put in a lot behind a, you know, impound lot where where it's going to sit out in the heat and possibly destroy the musical instrument that I had just purchased. And I go to prison. I get I sign a 3-year plea deal. I go to prison. I get trafficked as a free slave labor by a Freemason guy that has a Christian ministry that put has housing for people, many on parole that are paroled out or on probation, and they have to have an address and they have nowhere else to go, so they go there. Well, naturally, me not being from Texas, I don't have anybody anywhere else to go in Texas, and I've got to stay in Texas unless I do an interstate compact, right? So I go to this place. First of all, they sent me through 8 months of drug rehab that I didn't need because I got clean in 2016. This is, early 2022 or mid 2022 by the time I was in prison for actually 5 or 6 months. But you know, I'm at this place for 6 months, and they won't even let you call anybody but family. So if you don't like the situation there with them working you as free slave labor at a for-profit business, which is also owned or partially invested in and whatnot by the same Freemason that started the ministry, which the government is helping him pigeonhole people there and keep them there as free slave labor, uh, to make a little bit more profit at his for-profit business. So the whole system's messed up. But bottom line of what I was getting to is I've lost everything. So how is it a free society and a system that cares about lifting people up and the poor and everything like that when they're going to basically hand over everything that you own to somebody that owns an impound lot simply because you're too broke and too poor and don't have anybody to fork out thousands of dollars for you after the vehicle's been in there for a week or week and a half or 2 weeks. How are you going to, they kept me in jail for 90 days, county jail, before they gave me a let me out on my own recognizance on bond without me being able to bond out with money. And it just so happens that after 90 days, impound lots can file for the title to your vehicle. Well, gee whiz, isn't that convenient? 90 days in jail before they'll let you out on PR bond and give you 90 days to bond yourself out with money. And if you don't do it by then, maybe, if you're lucky, they'll let you out on a PR bond, give you a court date and all that stuff. Well, I get out and I find out that the impound lot has filed for the title for my vehicle. So I lose everything and then get held hostage by the state because that's the way parole works. If you can't do an interstate compact, then you're stuck in that state. So I'm basically 55 years old. Just got just got myself situated with musical equipment and a nice vehicle, bigger van than what I had before, and all of that's gone, right? And I'm stuck in a state in a small town that I can't find a job in a state that I don't choose to reside in. And on top of that, they're making me get a Texas state ID. I told my parole officer I'm leaving the state of Texas as soon as I get off parole. I don't care if I have to leave on a bus. I'm leaving when I get off parole, December of this year. It's 5.5 months away. She is all over me about getting a Texas state ID. I've got a driver's license out of the state of Tennessee. It's valid. I don't care to replace it. But because they've got their stupid rules, I've got to go get a Texas ID or a Texas driver's license. So, I mean, it's so ridiculous. Why do you need to make me do that when I'm telling you in 5.5 months I'm leaving? I don't live in this state. It's insanity the way this system abuses people. And I know I'm nowhere near the worst. I mean, all you got to do is look at the lady Sonia Massey that just got offed. And the video shows that she put the pot down. She didn't have anything in her hands, and he walks around the counter and puts 3 bullets in her, one of them hitting her in the head, two hitting her in the chest. This world is sick, and it's because of the people running it. And if you don't care enough to look into it and educate yourself as to who exactly it is that is to blame for all of this madness and all of this suffering, all of this trauma, all of this poverty, then, I don't know, you're just not a good person if you don't want to look for it. But if you do want to look for it and you go find it, you realize that something's got to be done about it. Can't be allowed to continue the way it is, because your kids and your grandkids, the future generations, they're fixing to make a major change. That's what the whole Great Reset is about. Well, it's not going to be a reset that's good for humanity, because the economic system they built globally, which is based on the dollar and the currencies of the West, all of that is fixing to come crashing down because it's all in debt. The debt's insane. It can't be continued. It's fixing to collapse, and they're going to use that timing as convenience for them to do other things that they have been planning to do, which is out there. Like we got too many people on the planet, Bill Gates says. We need to get rid of some of these people. He's not the first one. The Nazis are working on it. The Rockefellers were funding eugenics programs during Nazi Germany. Where are the Rockefellers right now? Well, they're right here soaking up their big enormous chunk of wealth, along with the rest of the elites in the United States still. Anyway, that's it.